The following is a production by Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. You can support Lone Star Community Radio by donating and sponsoring programs just like this. For more information, check us out online at irlonestar.com. This segment is brought to you by
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
Since 2004, Roger Stein Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW-LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC-LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hey, so how are you doing today, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty well.
So I am sitting here with Coach Brandon Crick, who's been coaching since 1998, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Junkyard Fitness and Fighting Arts and where they're located and why he's passionate about this. So, Brandon, tell me a little bit about your background.
So I got into martial arts in 1993. I was actually bullied by my cousin. And my dad got me into martial arts kind of as a bully prevention thing. I ended up loving it. Just, it became a part of who I was. I trained every single day. When I was about 16 years old, I found a new instructor who got me into kickboxing and what was called shoot fighting. And
What is shoot fighting?
So at the time, MMA was still pretty new. And shoot fighting was basically what we call catch-as-catch-can wrestling now. It's submission wrestling, so with takedowns and submissions all kind of mixed together. It was what back in the day they called Ken Shamrock. He was a shoot fighter. And so now it's kind of evolved into submission wrestling.
So what exactly is submission wrestling? I'm still not clear on this.
So submission wrestling, if you look at your typical collegiate or folk style wrestling, it's just takedowns and pins. So I'm trying to get you to the mat. I'm trying to put your shoulders on the mat. Submission wrestling is I'm trying to take you down. I'm trying to stay on top. I'm trying to make you submit with whether it be armbar, leg lock, choke, whatever.
Submission.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like jiu-jitsu, but a little more aggressive and a little more top game oriented.
So you got involved, so you wouldn't be bullied anymore. Did you have to use those tactics?
Once.
Yeah.
Once was all it took, and then I wasn't bullied anymore. So, and throughout that, I was a very timid, very geeky kid, and I gained confidence, and I became better at talking to people and meeting people eye to eye, and it really
raised your self-esteem.
It changed who I was.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Spokane, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. I was up there for 25 years, and then I moved to Seattle for a little while, and then I moved down here in 2006.
Why?
I came down here actually to to work for a friend. It was right after a divorce. I didn't want to be in Washington anymore.
I see.
Yeah, and I needed a new start. My buddy owned a company in Dallas, so I went down and worked for him there. And then it was a contract company. It's actually the company I work for again now. But When his contract was up in Dallas and they moved down here, I loved Dallas and I didn't want to leave. And so I kind of went back to what I knew already. I had already been in law enforcement and corrections up in Washington. I knew how to protect people. And so I started protecting people in Dallas, and I was a bodyguard for 13 years.
Okay. So you've used your techniques that you've learned.
Quite a bit.
Gained confidence.
Yes.
And so you opened up Junkyard Fitness and Fighting Arts in October of 2021. So
Yes.
that's just recently.
Yes, I just opened. I was supposed to open in July. We had some landlord issues, and so I opened in October.
And this is in Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
So you're also talking about how you do other things too. So you're waiting for the business to be able to take care of itself,
Yes. Yeah.
but the facility is still open. Do you employ people there?
It's just me.
Just you?
Yeah. Eventually,
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Eventually, I want to have employees, but I got to grow first.
Sure enough. So tell me a little bit about what you offer there.
So in the morning, I offer a kickboxing class, which it's not your typical cardio kickboxing, title kickboxing type class. There, they just cheer you on while you punch a bag. They don't really help you with technique or anything like that. You will learn to actually kickbox in my class in the mornings. And it's actually, as far as cardiovascular challenge, harder than your title kickboxing class.
What ages? Any?
Whatever age you want to bring in.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the time, kids don't come in the morning because it's 7 a.m.
School.
It's usually school, yeah.
Right.
But if you're old enough to come in, come on in.
So was that one-on-one?
It's a group class, but
Okay.
I'm very good at flowing with the class. I owned a gym up in Dallas, and I coached up there for 15 years. I've had classes as big as 60, 70 people, and I can flow through a class really well. So you do get instruction from me. I know what you're doing. I don't ignore you. You'll learn from me.
It's visual. You can see them. You can see
Yeah.
if they're struggling or what
Yeah,
it
and I've been
is.
doing this a long time.
So I took boxing once. I was supposed to be in a competition against another nonprofit. It was kind of crazy. It was back when I was at the Montgomery County Food Bank. But there was some kickboxing, and then there were some hits involved. This is just kicking?
This is kick and punch.
Both.
Yeah.
And there's a whole style to it. You have to learn how to do all the moves correctly so you don't hurt
Yes.
yourself as
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
right? And how you hit. And
Yeah. You can break your hand very easily. You got to think your hand is just 4 pencils, and pencils break really easily. And so if you hit on the outside of your hand, you're going to break that pencil, and it's called a boxer's break for a reason. I teach how to structure your fist correctly. I teach how to turn it over correctly so you don't break your hands. I've broken mine before. It's not fun. So I went through and learned how to structure everything correctly, teach everybody correctly.
so they learn the right way to do it while protecting themselves.
Yeah.
So you have different classes that you offer. What are some of those classes?
So at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I have my Turbo Tots classes, which are kids' classes. And anybody, I usually say 7 and up because that's where the bones in the hand are developed enough that I'm not going to cause growth issues. It happens. What happens a lot of times with all the tarsals and the metatarsals, they're not fully developed until you're 7. So if you're causing a lot of trauma in that wrist from punching stuff, it's not going to develop correctly, and you get the kids that
So
have
you
kind of...
discourage it.
I discourage it. I will check their bones in their hands.
Interesting.
It's pretty easy to feel.
So have you taken any classes on the physiology of
Yeah, so...
and anatomy of bodies and
Yeah,
all
so
of
I've
that?
taken kinesiology. I'm a master trainer. And then on top of that, in the state of Washington, it's weird. Down here to be a boxing coach, MMA coach, you hand them $25, they hand you a license. Here,
So you don't have to be educated.
right, in Washington I did. So I had to take a course in Washington to be a coach. So I took that course.
Right. Well, your education follows you wherever you are.
Right. And then, since then, I all I do is take classes. I want to learn as much as I can about the human body, how it works, how to build someone correctly. And so that's what I do.
So, we've spoke a little bit recently, and you were telling me that your place is different than other places in the community.
Yes.
So it sounds like that's one of the reasons that you are very well trained and educated.
Yeah, I don't just teach them to punch and kick. I teach them how to move their body correctly, how to eat correctly, how to periodize their workouts. Most people just think I need to make it harder and harder and harder and harder, but it's really supposed to be peaks and valleys. You know, you get as intense as you can possibly go, then you back it off a little bit. And every time your valley's a little bit higher and your peak's a little bit higher, so that you continuously get better, but you don't overtrain your body.
It's a gradual increase.
Right.
A little at a time.
Yep.
And you, I assume, walk with them and partner with them so they know when to bring it up a notch.
Yep. Yeah.
Or when to take it down.
Yeah, and we discuss that. We talk about it. I have a kid that's in here now. The kid is obsessed. He comes in the morning and at night, every single day. And
Wow.
Yeah, he's 19 years old. He's just, this is what he wants to do. But we've had
Why?
talks.
What gets them so excited?
There's nothing that is cooler than the physical chess of MMA. Once you get in there and you realize how many techniques there are, how many ways you can mix the striking, the wrestling, and the grappling in, it's just, it's a puzzle that you have to continuously solve, and it's always evolving. And it makes you want to do it more. And we have this kind of built into our DNA. We evolved through fighting. That's where our fist ball's up the way it does. It's from human evolution. If you look at a pencil and call that evolution, civilization is only the lead. All the rest of the evolution is the rest of that pencil, and we had to fight our way through that evolution. So we're so hardwired to fight. It's why when you get mad, you clench your jaw and you roll up your fists. You're ready to
Interesting.
fight. So it just tickles your brain. And the more you learn about it, the better you get at it, the more you want to do it. And it's addicting.
So you don't encourage fighting per se, but
No.
this is more for the person's well-being and raising their confidence in how they can conquer their fears,
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
I'm a big believer in you should do something hard every day. Every single day you should do something
new,
that sucks.
something difficult, something that's beyond your comfort zone.
Yep. And when you're in my class, every day is hard. That's the way it's supposed to be.
What challenges have you had?
Whew, man, challenges. Okay, well,
So many.
yeah. My divorce sucked. My ex-wife got hooked on meth, and that was rough. I moved down to Dallas with nobody. I moved alone. And I moved with what I could fit in the trunk of a 99 Chevy Cavalier. And I built everything I had from then on. It was rough. It
So
was
starting
very
a business is rough too.
Yeah, this is my third business to start. You know, the gym up in Dallas, we ended up shutting down just because we were trying to expand, and landlord didn't want us to expand, and things got too expensive.
Just wasn't
so we
right.
Yeah.
Not a good fit. Okay.
Yeah. And then the second gym, I was a partner in, and I was a head coach, and then COVID hit. So
you came down here, and why Montgomery?
So the friend that had the business that I worked for up in Dallas when I moved to Texas has the business down here now. We work with the Energy Solutions program, and we insulate homes, and we do it for a reduced price. I was tired of protecting rich assholes. And so I was talking with him one day when I was visiting down here, and he was like, well, I want to expand my company. Why don't you come on down, work with me again, we'll expand. So January 1st, 2020, I pulled the trigger and came down here, and then COVID hit. And so,
Sure. That's challenging.
yeah. So that's been a challenge as well. Trying to expand a company through COVID has been very rough.
You've got to be strong. You got to
Yeah.
be strong in so many different ways. You know, you have to learn to adapt.
Yep.
And go with whatever's happening and how you can make your business work,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So this is a contact sport. So tell me how that works with all the COVID stuff going on.
So we really haven't had a whole lot of issue with people worried about COVID coming in, but I do sanitize absolutely everything when I'm in, before and after classes. One of the beauties of the other job I do is during a trade show, I learned about a disinfectant called Shockwave, which is something they use in hospitals that kills everything. It kills MRSA, COVID. If it'll hurt you, it kills it. And we use that every single day, spray everything down with it. The other piece of it is it has been shown and proven, the fitter you are, the easier you get over COVID. So if I have people in eating well, getting cardiovascularly healthy, building their muscle endurance, they're already going to have...
They're building up their immunity.
Yeah, they're already going to have
more
a
effectively.
leg up getting over it.
Okay. So you have ongoing classes then. You said you start with the kickboxing in the morning.
Kickboxing in the morning, kids classes at 5 and 6, beginners MMA at 7, intermediate at 8, and then fighters class at 9.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah. I work
Every
about
day's
14 hours a
busy,
day.
right?
Yeah.
Wow. So what are you hoping to achieve? Where are your goals at? What do you want to do?
I want to help people. I believe that everybody should have what I teach. It builds confidence. It prevents bullies on both sides of it. I weaponize the victim, and if they're the aggressor, we've had kids come in that were quote-unquote bullies, and when you realize that the kid over there with the big ears and the glasses can whoop you because he's been in here for a year, it stops you from being a bully, because all of a sudden you don't know who your victims are. And it helps them find common ground as well.
Do you also have self-defense women's classes?
So I've started offering women's self-defense classes. I have another company called Innovative Threat Management where I teach women's self-defense. I was teaching it to bars and restaurants and everything up in Dallas, and I also taught some police departments.
That's interesting, bars and restaurants.
Yep. The servers need it. That's one of the most dangerous
Well,
trades there
because
is.
they stay after hours?
They stay
or
after
why?
hours, but also you got a lot of guys getting really drunk looking at pretty girls. And that we
So
had...
they can defend themselves. But is that appropriate in that environment? You know, I mean, are you allowed to be physical?
It's necessary and needed in that environment. The standard phrase is you need to know as much or as little force is necessary to eliminate the threat. And with these women who are walking to their cars alone after work, we had a situation in Dallas where a girl who worked at one of the local bars was followed home by a guy that she had turned down at the bar, and he broke into her house and slashed her throat.
Oh, my.
And that's what got me a lot of business. So it sucked, but it started people thinking about, oh, wow, this is a very high vulnerability trade. Another one is realtors. Realtors are in a house, an empty house alone with people. You don't know what they're going to do. You need to be able to determine that it's a threat. Then you need to react to the threat, eliminate the threat, and get away from the threat. And that's what I teach. And the beauty of it is it all kind of mixes together, because MMA teaches you how to deal with somebody who's got you down on the ground and is trying to hold you there. It teaches you how to deal with somebody who's pushed you up against a wall. And those are two big things that attackers do. Every attack is an ambush. You're already losing. So you need to learn how to make a predator-prey reversal and become the one on the offensive. And I think everybody should know that, but especially women.
Well, they need to be more observant and
Yeah.
aware
Yes.
as well. You can't be walking out of a building to your car and on your phone. You need to be
Right.
vigilant.
And I teach people games,
Okay,
awareness
what does that mean?
games. So, what's your favorite car?
My Mini Cooper, of course.
Your Mini Cooper? Okay, find as many as you can in every parking lot you're in. Now what you're doing is you're checking off the Mini Coopers, but you're also checking off the ones that aren't Mini Coopers. So now you're looking at those cars, seeing if there's a driver in it, seeing
You're
if it's...
adding more detail.
There you go.
Sure.
Favorite designer? When you're walking down the street, find every single purse
Same,
that's your
same.
favorite purse. Yeah.
Mhm.
Look everybody in the eye. Every
You're
single
just
person.
increasing your attention to detail.
Exactly. One of the
And
things
I'm sure
I,
officers, law enforcement do this all the time. They always know where the back door is.
yeah, we always call it using the elevator. I go
Right.
from top to bottom and back
Yeah.
to top. When I was in college, my capstone, my final paper was on rapists. At the time, I was working for corrections, and so I had unlimited access to offenders. So I interviewed something like 25 rapists and discussed with them what they look for in a victim. And so I built that into my structure for, okay, well, this is what they're looking for, so let's not do this. Let's not wear the purse strap across our body. Yeah, it seems like that's more safe because then they can't get it off of you, but it's a handle for them to grab onto you and pull you wherever they want to take you. Leave it on your shoulder, let it go. Nothing in your purse is worth your life. Another one is always make eye contact. One of the things predators don't like is if you make eye contact with them, because then now you could possibly identify them in a lineup. Stuff like that. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you teach all of this in your classes as well?
Yep, I do.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm wanting to start a free women's self-defense class every Saturday. I've been kind of putting feelers out there to find out what the best time is, and I've gotten times all over the board. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where the most effective time slot would be. But I think that it's important enough that these women know this that I will do it for free.
What about seniors? Do you think seniors are one of them that people attack readily?
Absolutely. And I had a fairly significant senior class at my old gym that I taught. I think everybody should learn it. I don't care how old you are. I'll teach anybody 9 to 90. It doesn't matter.
Seems like a good thing for senior centers or places where seniors congregate as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's little small things you can teach them that, once you're past the point where you can hold yourself up very well or have the strength to move quickly, you can still be dangerous to an attacker in other various ways. And I can teach that.
So would you say most of this is by understanding and being aware of your surroundings, being attentive, or do you need to have a device on you to stop your attacker?
I think it's a little bit of both. Awareness is number one. Awareness and avoidance. But at the same time, there are devices that do work, and there's devices that don't work.
What doesn't work?
Pepper spray,
Really?
tasers.
Why?
So pepper spray only works from 8 to 18 feet. So if your attacker's already ambushed you and he's in your face, you're spraying yourself as much as him. It's also nitrogen propelled, and it's made from oleoresin capsicum, the capsicum pepper, which means it's perishable. So if you're past
Doesn't last forever.
if you're past your expiration date, you got some problems.
Yeah.
How many people check their expiration date? Same thing with tasers. They're a battery. How many people check the battery on their taser?
So what's the best thing to do?
I recommend Kubotons.
What is that?
They're literally translated pain stick. They're about yay big. They're a little metal stick. You have a key. They have a keychain on it. You have your keys in your hand. Hold it like this. It packs your fist, so it's harder to break your fist if you punch. But it sticks out the bottom of your hand, and you can start pounding on people with it. It's hard. It causes pain, and it helps you get out of difficult situations. I recommend
for
those.
both men and women?
Absolutely. Yep. I always have a jar of them at my office, and if someone starts talking about, well, I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that, well, here. And then I kind of run them through a basic of this is how you can use it. It's very simple to use.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're passionate about this, and you're
This is my
passionate
calling.
because you've been down this road. And
Yeah, so while I was a bodyguard, the last 6 years I was the bodyguard for Chief General Counsel for a hedge fund, and pretty much everybody hated him, so dealing with that was an issue. But before that, for 5 years before that, or 6 years before that, I was the bodyguard for a guy who owned 17 bars in Dallas, and I was also the head of security for all of his bars. So I have been in it, I have used it, I have taught people to use it and watched them use it. I know what works and what doesn't from empirical evidence.
So let's contrast other places around here. It's the education and what else that
teach
sets
everything.
you apart.
I teach everything. I don't teach one style. I don't teach just groundwork or just stand-up. I teach it all. There are a lot of people who water down their styles around here to make it more palatable for parents or for people who are worried about contact or bullying or stuff like that. I don't water anything down. We can back off the contact, but you're going to learn what works, not what's fun and looks cool. what you find out is doing it the right way is more fun anyway. And even the people that
So you're about technique.
I'm very much about technique, because if you
Okay.
do it incorrectly, it's not going to work. And I have seen what happens when people do it incorrectly in a situation where they're supposed to be saving their life and they don't. And I refuse.
So it's
to let that
detrimental all
happen.
the way around.
Oh man, it's horrible. And so I'm not trying to dig on any particular classes or whatever, but some of the big box kickboxing gyms and the heavy,
There's a different way to do
yeah,
it.
I call them
that's
the
all.
heavy bag gyms, where there's just a bunch of people punching on heavy bags, and you've got an aerobics instructor out front cheering them on and not correcting technique. And then I see all these posts about, oh yeah, I'm learning to kick ass, and I've got this and I've got that, and I'm a kickboxer now. And no, you're not. You know how to barely kick a heavy bag. You don't know the technique. And then if you get attacked on the street, you will freak out. You have not been inoculated with stress. You do not know how to deal with it. You're going to have an adrenaline dump. You're not going to know how to weaponize and control that adrenaline dump, and you're going to get hurt. And I've seen it happen, and it's not something I really want to see happen ever again.
So you would like to get this out
Oh, absolutely.
any way you can.
Yep.
And it isn't just about you. It's sounding like it's more about something that you have a gift to share with and you want people to know.
I'm pretty passionate about helping others.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. So do you do any kind of events or anything?
So events are difficult, especially in a COVID world.
Sure.
There are kickboxing tournaments, grappling tournaments, and then, there's amateur and professional MMA fights. I do take people to those. I've actually had some of my students end up in Bellator on Dana White's Contender Series. So we've been up to the larger promotions.
That's kind of on hold right now? Is that how that works?
It
In
is
your
and it
world?
isn't. So I have two of my former students from Dallas that are coming down every couple of weekends to work with me getting ready for some fights. It's hard
Okay.
to train with them when they're 3 or 4 hours away.
So it's personal training you're still doing
Mm-hmm.
with different people that have engaged your services in the past.
Yes.
And so you don't necessarily have events yourself at
It's
your
very difficult
place,
to do them at your place.
in your venue. But maybe you might be interested in going to other events, and participate to show
Yes.
people what's important.
So I can do seminars and demonstrations at my gym or at other people's places. But as far as fights, you have to be sanctioned by the
Sure.
TDLR. And so I'm not doing that. That's expensive and it's dangerous, and you end up having a whole lot of
So mostly you
issues.
just want to educate people and have your classes at this point.
I educate them, I teach them, and we do train with an eye on competition, but our competition is elsewhere.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about how people can get engaged with you.
Okay. My website is www.junkyardfightfit.com.
Junkyard,
Yes.
Fitness and Fighting Arts.
There you go. I do have a Facebook page, Junkyard Fitness and Fighting Arts. Mm-hmm. I have an Instagram, Junkyard Fight Fit. And then they can reach me by phone. Phone number's on the website and the Facebook page. Email, same thing. Or they can just come in. I'm about a mile south of 105 on 149. There's a business park on the left side of the road right before the railroad tracks. It's 21360 Shannon Circle. And it's a big
You're
building.
available.
Yeah, big building with a big sign. So
So if somebody wanted to reach out to you to be a part of an event they had, to just talk a little bit about it, or
Yeah.
speaking engagements or anything like that,
I'm more than
is
willing.
that something you'd like to do?
Absolutely. I just had a lady reach out to me to do a self-defense kind of seminar and talk for some 7th graders.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm going to go do that. So, it's a
Sounds
start.
fabulous.
Yeah,
Well, I'm excited to hear from you. I can tell you are very passionate about this.
I love this.
And you're a member of the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce
I
as
am.
well. And that's a good way to get connected with people. And it's Junkyard Fitness and Fighting Arts.
Yep.
And you can Google that, pretty easily. You can find it on Facebook. You can go to the chamber and see his listing. And Coach Brandon Crick is very excited to help you out.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Brandon. I appreciate you coming out here and recording this and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
And hopefully more people will get engaged with what you have to offer, your skill set, and protect themselves.
That's my hope.